let's move on to our last topic, Star Wars. Rogue One just came out, so I kind of wanted to look back at some Star Wars games, and I think we should try to rank the top 5 Star Wars games.
Man. Is that all?
So where do you guys want to start with this?
KOTOR's number 1, duh. Right.
Oh, man, that's a good start. How about
Does
you?
anyone like? How can you? I don't know what you put in front of Knights of the Old Republic. It's kind of just quintessential right now, right? It's the best Star Wars story we got told. I mean, it's still like a super fun kind of old school BioWare role playing game, which might be better than modern BioWare role playing games at this point. You know, and it's good stuff, and it doesn't really rely too much on like old Star Wars nostalgia, right? It's not like doing the original trilogy thing. It's not doing the prequel trilogy thing. It's like familiar. It's definitely Star Wars, but it's got a lot of its own stuff going on. It's all these different characters, all these new planets and whatnot. Just very satisfying game to play through, and classic for all times. So there.
Okay, so I like that argument. I'm glad we kind of talked that one out. That's definitely going to be on the list, without a doubt. So right now we have Knights of the Old Republic. Dean, do you have a game you would add to this list?
I'm trying to remember my favorite. It's the shooter one from many years ago.
What, Dark Forces?
Yeah, Dark Forces.
The Doom, like the Quake. Wait, is the Quake was born?
I think it was
long.
based in Quake.
That's 1995. Shooter from 1995, yeah.
See, I was more a fan of like the sequels to that, like the first Jedi Knight and Jedi Outcast especially. I was really a fan of.
I think I would agree with that, Mike. I liked Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. A little. I think Dark Forces was definitely influential and important, but you're right. I think the sequels were a bigger deal.
The funny thing about Jedi Outcast, it's like one of those like last like shooters that just kind of like once Halo came, and then even more so of Call of Duty and kind of changed things. Like you play Jedi Outcast and you're still like kind of wandering around and finding key cards, and you have like 1 through 10 of your keyboard switch through all the weapons, and just kind of like that stuff that used to be how these things worked, like from Doom until literally like Jedi Outcast, and then right after that it's Halo, and it's all different.
All right.
Yeah, I'm looking back at the graphics, and they just look horrible right now.
It's an old game, Dean.
But yeah, they.
All right, I'm making a list, and I'm going to put
Dark
it up here on the
Forces
right
seems
here
so
in a
good
second.
back then.
I don't know. I'm skeptical of Dean's eye for these things after the story he wrote about Rogue One today, but we won't talk about that. It's a spoiler.
What did he? I'm gonna have to read this. Okay. All right. So we have Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Knight 2, right, and then Dark Forces. Sorry,
What about some of the other shooters? I think the other one everybody really likes is
Republic
Rogues.
Commando?
Republic Commando was the really fun one, right?
So I would put we'll talk about Battlefront, but let's talk about Republic Commando a little bit. I was always really surprised by Republic Commando. So it was like a prequel era game. Came out for like the original Xbox, right, and PC maybe.
Right.
And it was a shooter where you're like the elite clone troopers who are going in and doing all these special, forces operations, and you're a group of 4, and they each have their own personalities, and you command them to do special things. Like one's a demolitions guy, so when you have to blow something up, you send him in. And I thought that game was really well made and really interesting, and probably would have been a very good game, even if it didn't have the Star Wars license. So yeah, I would have it up on this list for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it was almost good despite the Star Wars license, because there was all that kind of prequel stuff that we didn't really like, and it was actually still like relevant at that time. I was like, oh god, this stuff. It was probably like the best thing to come out of that whole prequel stuff, like that and those original Clone Wars cartoons. Yeah, it was just it was hard to say. It wasn't like the game was ever doing anything like super new or crazy, but it was just very well made. Just a very like well paced game. It was a fun game. The kind of interactions amongst those 4 was really interesting. Plus, it was kind of, even though they weren't quite stormtroopers, we never really had like a full on like you're a kind of like amongst the stormtroopers game, right? You had like stuff like X-wing and TIE fighter, but I don't know, it seemed neat.
All right, so Dean, you mentioned Battlefront. Would you want Battlefront on the top 5?
Yeah. I mean, it's just
it's
fun
very good,
all
but
around.
I thought it was very easy to throw away at the same time. Like,
Right.
as soon as another game came along, I was sort of done with Battlefront. Now I've gone.
I
back
liked
to
it, man. Me and Jeff were big Battlefront defenders too.
Yes, and yes, exactly. Like, I liked it a lot when I played it, but I just think it's a little bit too forgettable, and I think we're gonna have to wait for a sequel to
Like,
really appreciate what they've done here.
What about the other Battlefronts?
I was never a big fan.
I was never a huge fan. I know everybody is like, "Oh, this isn't like the old, really good Battlefronts." I was like,
I'm
those
like,
games
good.
were okay.
Yeah. I know that's like blasphemy, but I'm like, good. Well, I mean, it's on the
kinda
list for now.
I kind of like the Star Wars: The Force Unleashed for its story, and then
That's why he's not canon anymore. It doesn't matter.
The execution was, I guess, a little something to be desired. I guess. But,
I almost had like the opposite thing. I liked the lightsaber like fighting and the force physics, whereas like everything else about it was kind of whatever for me.
I like the thing where he brought down the Star Destroyer in like the preview, the trailer.
I disliked that.
Okay,
heavily.
Well, I like that, but
I think it's too flawed to be a top
wasn't
fiver.
really a thing in the game. Yeah.
What about now? I haven't played these games, but I feel like everybody loves those flight simulators: the X-wing and the TIE Fighter, X-wing versus TIE Fighter, X-wing cross TIE Fighter.
I was a bit too young, I think, and I wasn't
Me
into
too.
PC gaming at the time. Dean, do you have any experience with the TIE Fighter X-wing series?
I would go back farther to Star Wars Rebel Assault in 1993.
That I did play. That was like the FMV game, right? With like,
Yeah.
First CD-ROM game to be published.
yeah,
by
it came with
LucasArts.
like if you like bought like a CD-ROM for your 486 or whatever, it would come with a copy of Rebel Assault. That game was interesting, but it was also pretty whack. I mean, it's very basic if you go back and play it now.
Yeah, I spent a lot of hours with that one.
I did too. It was one of
the good old days.
Yeah, that and that Sherlock Holmes game, the Sherlock Holmes FMV game, which I want to go back and play, but I haven't played in a while. But that's off the topic. All right, so let me bring my Star Wars thing over here. Okay, so what other games should we pop on this list? How about the N64 GameCube?
I think the best of those, if you're talking about like the kind of the Rogue Squadron series, or if you want to maybe even include Shadows of the Empire, I think Rogue Leader, which was that GameCube launch game.
Yes, that's the one I would go with too.
Those.
And I definitely want that on this list. I think
I can see that. Maybe number 5, but I could see that. I mean, that was, especially at the time, that was the most like kind of wish fulfillment Star Wars game outside of like wanting to be a Jedi. It's always fly the X-wing. Like the very first thing you do in that game is the Death Star run. And it was just so cool. It's still fun to play that today. And they made that sequel for the GameCube. It's just like it had a lot of the ground stuff. It just was like worse. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's kind of better.
I understand they were trying to do something different, and they had like covered a lot of the ground that they could cover. That was a bad pun, but they in Rogue Squadron 2, like I remember waiting for the GameCube to come out and like having like the demo disc or the demo station at like different game stores, and I would go and I'd play it over and over and over, and then when the GameCube came out, it came with a demo disc for it, and I played that over and over and like practically wore out that disc. So yeah, I like that a lot. I hope it sticks on at number 5. I'm trying to think. Do you guys have anything else like big that we should make sure that is on this list so far before we start arranging things?
Well, that fighting game, the Masters of Terra Psi or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's number 1, without a doubt.
I do think it's time to try again with the whole Star Wars fighting game idea. You could do something
probably
there. Like it was cool when Vader and Yoda were in Soul Calibur 4. Is that one? Yeah.
Is there any love for KOTOR 2?
I don't think anybody likes KOTOR. Like I think there's some love for it, but nobody would say it's better than KOTOR 1.
I've known people who've said that, but I think they're like a small group who like love Obsidian. What are you saying, Dean? What should we put on here?
I would put Lego Star Wars in.
Yeah, I was going to ask
that's
about
sort of
that.
That's the way that my kids actually learned the whole Star Wars story before they saw the movies.
Well, that's just your bad father. That's just bad parenting, man.
I'm just like the whole Lego thing is. At the time when it was like the first one doing that, it was really cool. At this point, it's just been so many Lego games where I can't even probably enjoy those original Star Wars Lego games anymore. It's just like something I've done so much now at this point. I don't know how I think they were really cool at the time. I don't know how incredibly well they hold up.
Let's talk about a few more like the Super Nintendo series, like the Super
Those are
Star
fun.
Wars.
Platformers are really hard, but I don't know.
They're very
not like,
hard.
Yeah, they're not like all-time great games.
Yeah,
like a lot
stories.
of the strategy games, none of them ever really hit that well for me. I know Jason actually likes them. He'd probably be.
I know there's one that people are like, this was underappreciated, but yeah, I know at the time all of them were panned.
The only one I really even played a little bit was the one that was literally just the Age of Empires 2 clone. Like it was the same engine and everything. They just put Star Wars stuff over it, and I liked that because I liked Age of Empires 2, and it was just all right, sure, I can play this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else that we have to add to this list.
What about the online games, Star Wars Galaxy?
Well, yeah, the Old Republic.
Republic's still going. I'll give it that much. I kind of counted that out a
really
while ago.
like
People
that,
like
but
it now.
I haven't played it enough to.
I think they've done a pretty good job kind of turning it around and like finding its identity as sort of like this very like almost like a single player, not really a single player, but like where the multiplayer stuff is kind of like complementary to like going through just this persistent world and doing your single player story and whatnot.
Yeah, I think the game has definitely earned its place where it's at now.
Star Wars Galaxies was really interesting in a way, right? Because it was not just a Warcraft clone or an EverQuest clone. It really did try to like make like a Star Wars world where maybe you weren't fighting things, maybe you were a tavern dancer, and that was what you did, and it was very social and strange, and it ultimately didn't work. But I admired it for what it was trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
there's the new one that on mobile that a lot has been very, very popular. Star Wars Galaxy.
Yeah,
Heroes.
any of these mobile games, it's not out yet, so I'm not going to put Force Arena on there. It is a very good game, but it is absolutely a Clash Royale clone. It's a Clash Royale clone with like Dota heroes, Dota heroes that are Han Solo and Leia and stuff. But I wouldn't put any other mobile game on here from the Star Wars series. Would you guys?
Yeah. They're all fine, but they're all mobily. Maybe if they cost $10, they would have been better.
That's a good point. I'm with you there. All right, let's start arranging this list. Let's lock it in. Knights of the Old Republic at 1. I think that's right.
Yeah.
It's one of the first like big RPGs I played, Western RPGs I played, and it really clicked for me. And I played through the whole thing and really loved it. I want to go back.
If there was going to be one like Star Wars game that like would get turned into a movie, it would be Knights of the Republic. There's almost
you're right. It established its own ethos and mythology, and that was separate from the Star Wars that we knew, but was still the Star Wars galaxy clearly. And on top of that, it just had really great storytelling, character storytelling that I really appreciated. Dean, any fight there for anything else?
Well, my vote is for Rebel Assault, but you guys have not even bothered to put it on the list.
I did not even
voted me again.
Dean, I thought Rebel Assault was
I'm just used to being outvoted here. There.
There it is.
I like Rebel Assault 2.
It should be number 2, though. It should be number 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
we should make this
be place at number 2. Dean, we're helping you here.
At the number of hours I put into it, it should be like number 2.
I do feel bad that we basically just put Dean's 3 suggestions on the bottom of.
Well, we haven't arranged anything yet. So, but yeah, they are down there. Yeah. They are down there. I can't see putting.
I just can't do it though.
But I put a lot of hours into that game because I think I played the same level over and over and over again.
Yeah,
trying to
like the first one. Like there's the training level on Tatooine
level. Yeah.
And that was cool, but you're basically just moving a cursor around like a video. Like it's so bad.
It's like what's that game with Dirk the Brave or whatever? It's like Dragon's Lair.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just Dragon's Lair. God.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna for people listening on the podcast, I'm gonna read the list again. This is not in order except for number 1. Knights of the Old Republic, Jedi Knight 2, Dark Forces, Republic Commando, Star Wars Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2, Star Wars Battlefront, Lego Star Wars, and Rebel Assault. You guys want to move this around at all? I think I kind of want to move down Dark Forces.
8-2.
God
damn it, Dean.
I'm going to sneak it in there.
You can't sneak it in. There's 3 of us.
There's no sneaking in.
And he controls the list.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. All right.
I don't know. Dark Forces, I don't think should go too low. I think Republic Commando, Jedi Knight 2 are maybe ahead of it. And maybe Rogue Leader. Is Rogue Leader number 2? Is that where that is?
No, it's at number 4 right now.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is it number 2?
I think it might be number 2.
I think it might be number 2.
I think it stands out in the same way that Knights of the Old Republic stands out, where it isn't relying so much on the very specific parts of the movies. It's like drawing off the canvas in interesting ways, and using a lot of the extended universe stuff to establish something original. And at the same time, the flight action was very good. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy with putting that in at number 2. Now, Dean.
Yeah.
If you are serious about Rebel Assault in this top 5, mind you, we're going to have to drop something like Dark Forces to get it on there.
Well, I think Dark Forces was better. So.
All right.
So you said it yourself. All right. So, all right, let's make a little gap here. And Dark Forces is one that Dean suggested, Mike. So we are going to get a Dean on here.
Okay. I agree with him on Dark Forces. Dark Forces was pretty cool.
I do too. So Knights of the Old Republic at 1, Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2 at number 2, Jedi Knight 2 at 3, Republic Commando at 4, Dark Forces at 5. We're starting to feel like this is getting to be closer.
It seems pretty good. I guess it seems a little first-person shooter heavy, but I guess they.
What else would we put in? What else?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of where they. I mean, they've for some reason always done better in that genre than.
I like
strategy.
That pod racing game.
Actually, that was actually a pretty good game. It was Pod Racer for the Dreamcast.
The Dreamcasters in N64. It was definitely better on the Dreamcast, but either one.
It was way better on Dreamcast.
Yeah, no, clearly, but whatever. It still worked on N64.
I don't want to kick Dean's Dark Forces off for it though. Maybe Dark Forces is ahead of Republic Commando, and maybe Pod Racer's at number 5.
So what, say that again?
Maybe Dark Forces is number 4, and then Pod Racer's number 5.
Okay, what are we dropping?
Dropping Commando, I think. Well, yeah, I like Jedi Knight 2 more than Republic Commando.
Yeah, okay, so find out the name of that game for me, the Pod Racer.
I think it's just called Pod Racer. There was a sequel called Jedi. No, I forget what the sequel was called.
Bombast Racing. Jedi Bombast Racing. That Mario Kart clone.
Okay, so what's it called? Excuse my mechanical keyboard. It's called Star Wars Episode 1, Pod Racer.
Never mind. We're not putting it on here.
Just to remind you.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay, so making that gap again. I guess, let's see, do we have enough for 10 now? I mean, we could just make a... If we put one more on
here... No, get the 5. Let's wrap this up.
God, just trying to be diplomatic, Mike.
Get him off there.
All right,
loser games.
Knights of the Old Republic, number 1. Number 2 is Rogue Leader. Number 3 is Jedi Knight 2. Number 4 is Pod Racer. And number 5 is Dark Forces.
You have to say its full name. It's Dark Forces 3, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Then there's Jedi Academy, which is Dark Forces 4, Jedi Knight 3, Jedi Outcast 2, Jedi Academy.
God, it really should be disqualified just for that. Okay, I feel good about this list. Any quabbles or squabbles or any qualms?
I think they should make a Rogue One game now.
I agree with that. I hope, but who knows? It'll be a mobile game.
I think I had enough Rogue One from the movie.
I know, Mike, you're not as into it as other people, but I love it.
I didn't hate it.
I know you don't hate it. I know you like it. You like the movie. It's just,
it was fun. It was a fun movie to watch, but I don't know. When I'm seeing like these headlines like best Star Wars movie ever, I'm like, what?
I think got some people that generally didn't like Star Wars to begin with, but yeah, we could have this conversation elsewhere. I loved it.
It's very unlike a Star Wars movie.
Yes, it's very different. Yes, we could just talk. Actually, we could just talk about it. Screw it. Let's throw away this whole podcast. Just talk about Rogue One.
No.
I like the shades of gray. All right.
I don't. I know
you don't.
Rebels good, Empire bad. That's what
Rebels,
I like.
The good Rebels that we had in the other movies are good, and the Empire is bad, but there has to be never mind. Here we go. Never mind. Star Wars, top 5. Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars, Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2. Jedi Knight 2, and then like 50 other words. Star Wars, Episode 1, Pod Racer. Star Wars, Dark Forces. That's a pretty good list.
All right.
Yeah.
That's our top 5.
Happy to get my one in there.
Yeah, you snuck Dark Forces in. Special mention to Rebel Assault. Special,
of course.
The cheesy Star Wars game. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. So,
Oh, the arcade game. We forgot the arcade game. What was
You know what?
that?
That arcade game actually was sweet. Put that at number
I
6,
like
then you have a top 10 list.
Yeah.
Star
oh
Wars
my god!
Arcade.
Oh my god!
That game was
Forget that
awesome. That's still in movie theater like lobbies all over the world. It's great.
Oh my god! That just happened. So now Rebel Assault is on our top 10 list.
Star Wars Arcade. Yes.
Oh, this is a nightmare. Yeah. Okay. Lego Star Wars. Okay. So here's the full top 10 now. Knights of the Old Republic, Star Wars Rogue Leader, Jedi Knight 2, Star Wars 1 Episode 1, or Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer, Dark Forces. Then at number 6, Star Wars Arcade, which I think is just the actual name, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Republic
Even
Commando.
Battle Plus, I was good at that.
1983. Ooh.
What? No, we're talking about different ones now.
No, oh my god, please. I'm not talking about the old one. I'm talking about the one that was alive when I was alive. The better
looks
one.
so disappointed now. I mean, yes,
I don't know.
the old one. They can say the old one too. Fine.
Yeah, fine, whatever. I don't care anymore. Star Wars
I
Arcade.
thought we meant that one with like
yeah, the one from like Namco or whatever.
Yeah, you
like
blow up the Death
Dreamcast
Star.
graphics.
Yeah, you blow up the Death Star in the other one too, or like, but you can actually light the
You blow up
lightsaber fight
the
with
Death
Darth
Star
Vader.
in all of them.
Yeah, it's like you can't go a day in Star Wars without blowing up a Death Star. All right, then number 7, Republic Commando. Number 8, Battlefront. Number 9, Lego Star Wars. Number 10, Rebel Assault. Oh my god!
right.
Damn. All right, guys. I think that's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that'll do it.